What's up guys, it's Drac, and this is the brand new worker Seagull. This sample got sent to me over from my friend Luke at Out of Darts, where you can pick one up too. But the Seagull box is concerningly, surprisingly small. All right, so as we check out the box, the front is just very clearly a micro Harrier. The Seagull is like, you know, what do you want to call it? Like a pump action SBR type thing. Looks to be the high quality injection molding from the more recent worker products. Love the logo, very techno, almost like cyber. It looks like clockwork to me, like a clockwork seagull, like he's there to stop the thievius raccoonus. Anyway, down here we've got some sort of indication that it's spring powered. Over here we've got warning saying that this has small parts and is not suitable for children. Here it says ages 14 and up, and then it says material, plastic. How very descriptive, worker, thank you. All right, so let's see how much assembly is required. All right, so my Seagull is white and fully assembled now. I am excited by this blaster. The metal rails are very nice, help kind of cinch the shell together. It ships small, and it's still small. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, the blaster itself is shorter than my arm. Overall, I think that it has some strong points and some weak points. One of the strongest points is that this is a very compact pull, even with the strong spring in, and then it auto retracts. How nice is that? You should keep your hand on the blaster, but no matter how you're gripping and ripping, it's nice. It's nice to have an assisted return, especially since it helps you know confidently that you have seated the blaster properly. Now, the built-in irons are nice. They have these little fiber optic dots on them, which as long as you're playing during the day is sweet. And then of course the longer barrel had an included worker scar. These are quickly being outpaced by the litany of other options on the market, but it's nice that the blaster came with one, particularly since that seems to be the default for a lot of these pump action springers nowadays. As far as the firing motion goes, it's got a little bit of pop to it. I mean, it is a serious pump action springer from at this point what has become a very reputable manufacturer in our space. It almost feels disingenuous to refer to worker as a hobby grade or an aftermarket manufacturer when, you know, the truth is that at this point they're making injection molded shells that are right up there with the big boys in big box stores. So the weakest point on the blaster is actually not anything that you would have as a major touch point. The grip, even small, that it ships with is nice, and you could replace it with anything. It's a pick rail grip. Put whatever grip you'd like on it. The magazine system is super duper nice. The mag release is comfortable and easy to hit both with your offhand and with your dominant hand. Is it gonna mag flip? Not quite, but it is a skinny pusher, which means that you can reload with the bolt closed, which is very, very nice for competitive play. The weakest point of the blaster is kind of unavoidable. It ships with a really poor stock. The curvature of this down means that once you shoulder it, particularly if you're a taller person, you're gonna be tight against your body, and then it's going to have this bad habit with no rubberization or overmold on this stock. The stock is the weakest point, the cheapest point, and it slips. It just pushes right off because it's got this really aggressive angle here that makes you want to put the meat of your shoulder directly behind your buffer tube, which is where it should be anyway for comfortable priming. But let's be honest, you bought the SBR version. You want to be running and gunning more like this, probably out. And I would be surprised, shocked even, if you were taking very measured, very steady shouldered shots. And if you are going to do that, it is a buffer tube, which means that it is one simple upgrade away. I think the first thing I'm going to do when I'm done with my review is slap a real M4 stock on there and really put it through its paces. Excited to get it out to a war. I just like the form factor. Shell feels good. No creak, as this is not held in with takedown pins. It is a fully assembled, screwed together assembly. But let's take it outside. Let's put it over the... That's interesting. That's kind of... So I was just saying that the stock should be overmolded. This is kind of floppy. I wish that this was a little tighter just because I see this wearing off pretty quickly as you kind of sweat and grab. But, you know, it is nice that it's a rubberized grip. That is a premium feature that we're used to seeing on far more expensive blasters than this. Cost being a relevant factor, this is not an entry-level blaster, right? This is a $125 blaster directly from Luke. Then you got to tack on shipping. However, you know, this is an excellent option for your tournament grade blaster if that's the direction that you want to take it. Let's take it outside, put it over the chronograph, and see how accurate we can dial it in. All right, so we're out here with our Seagull in high performance mode. We are specifically using the worker darts that came with the Seagull. Wish we had gotten more than 10 darts with it, but what are you gonna do? I know that over on the West Coast, they're a big fan of worker darts, so we're gonna test it with those. And then I have a little Do-Re-Mi mag here with a few that we can put downrange just to test its consistency and chambering and feeding. But this is really just a first impression kind of deal to see if something so compact can hang with the big dogs. Error. 189, wow. 186. 184. So mid 180s in power mode. We have one shot left. Let's go ahead and see if properly shouldered and dialed in. This is a very reasonable target at a very reasonable range. If we put it right on the log there, what happens? Pretty close, pretty close. So scar barrel doing some work, not bad. Let's go ahead and drop this. Talon compatible means that it should be cross compatible with these. Really? Okay, well, don't expect to use your Zuru mags in here, but let's pop a few of these Do-Re-Mi darts out and then load them into something that's compatible. I assume, based on the size and scope of this thing, that this is Talon mag compatible, which means that it would work with everything else that Luke sells. You can put your Tachis in there, all sorts of things, but let's do some range shots. Not bad, very straight. Kind of a squib, but that was an AccuStrike head dart. This is, I think, a target dart. Let's put this into the pillar up there. Pretty close. And then an old school worker dart. And dead on. Not bad. I mean, like, ultimately, I think that the Seagull is sweet. You know, you have to decide if this is the entry level that you want to be at. Obviously, it won't melt in a car. Not that you should be leaving it in a hot car anyway. I think that there's no substitute for the tuning and the performance and the customization, the litany of different colors that you get from like a custom 3D printed blaster, especially one that you make yourself. I think that it absolutely needs a better stock, but you know, dollar for FPS performance, you're getting a great return on your investment with the Seagull. It's got some custom options out of the box. A lot of its little greeblies are actually quite nice. These are the nicest irons that I've seen from Worker ever. I don't mind the cute mini mag. I don't mind the cute mini foregrip. I mean, I think that overall it's got a lot of really nice things going for it, and you know, it's cheaper than a custom 3D printed blaster. You know, at the end of the day, maybe I just like things that are roughly this size and completely devoid of pigment. What do you think, Jinx? Jinx says, if that was a real Seagull, I would be barking up a storm. Isn't that right? She doesn't have a lot to say about it, but that's the Seagull at 125 bucks. I think that it's a sweet pickup. You're supporting Out of Darts by picking it up through him. He is my preferred retailer for Worker products, and you know, I think that it's tight. I actually like it a little bit more than the Harrier. I like the compact form factor, and I think that there's a lot of room to run with it. I'm sure that you're giving up some overall pop-in performance, but at the end of the day, you really only need to be about this high for most of your game types. If you need to be closer to that 250 threshold, I'm pretty confident you could push this that far. You might give up some of the comfort in that very easy stroke length there though. But good seal, solid shell, very sturdy, and the white should paint up or dip up any way you wanna run it. Overall, I think that this one's a huge smash hit. Link in the description box down below. As always, much love, blast on, Drac out.